There's thousands of people dying to watch this on YouTube, so I want to make sure we get that part organized. We good, Angela? We're good on YouTube now. Meeting is now streaming live. I'll take that as a yes.
Yep, good to go.
Thank you. Okay. Get that part organized. I'm getting a little feedback. I hope that. Okay, there we go. All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I know people were scrambling to get here, and I just felt it was important since we hadn't seen each other in a while. It's not like there's monstrous decisions to make, but I thought it would be good to get a catch up in person. So thank you for those that are attending. I would like to start by recognizing the traditional territories and acknowledge that the land on which the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Task Force meets today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples, many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Acknowledging this is a reminder that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people. We will then move to any amendments to the agenda that was circulated earlier today. We did not receive any additions or deletions, so we will need a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by the mayor, seconded by Nancy. Thank you. And we circulated, the last minutes that were circulated were actually November 21. And we did provide a couple email updates in between then and now, but formally we have to approve the minutes of the meeting of November 21. So I need a mover and a seconder on that, please, too. Moved by Nancy, seconder by the mayor. They're the only two I can see, by the way, so I'm just going to lean on you guys. So I appreciate that. And all those in favor? Okay, so those minutes are approved. Any declarations of interest? Seeing none, there's no presentations from invited guests. We'll then move to the business arising. And I'll carry it a bit forward, I think, from my email update, which was a little more current than anything else. So there we go. And then there's a few items of action points, items of business that we'll need to cover. So as you saw in the email update, with the focus toward the latter part of the year being primarily on collections, we've gotten ourselves into a pretty good spot with respect to our fundraising. As of the writing of that, and I know another 3,000 as an example came in, but with Lori being away today, I unfortunately couldn't get an update. But we're between 420 and 440. That's either cash in the bank or the declaration pledge form signed. I think everyone but one, maybe. So that puts us very, very close to what the original budget was. And candidly, we're shuffling around donations a little bit because of where we landed on the bricks. So I'll get to that in a second. But the major ones are sold out, as you know. And we have, I think, one tree left, and we have two or three people all under consideration, a strong consideration. So again, I don't foresee that as a problem. Our challenge is on the bricks, so I'll speak to that one in a second. So right now, this is about a month old, and there are a few that trickle in, and I know a number of people still yet to close and buy. But I'm going to suggest that if we just keep the inertia that we have up now, we're going to land in around the 100 brick territory, and of 240 available. And the reality is, we have done a fair amount of promoting on this. Frankly, the city's been great through their various social media accounts. There's been some stuff in the newspaper about it. We tried a couple of source deduction or payroll deduction, and we never really got any traction on it. And the reality is that for me personally, my time on this is far better served getting donations from corporations and individuals than it is kind of selling a brick by brick here. The bricks will not never. We're not going to close them off as a an opportunity. So as construction picks up on site, and we have our sort of area designated for them. We're going to continue to sell them, but I just am suggesting to the committee for discussion and approval that we stop any specific efforts toward them. We'll certainly react to anything that comes our way. We do have literature, et cetera, that will always be circulated, but um, it's just been a challenge to get traction on that number. And frankly, the goal behind the bricks was to allow anybody that had an interest in this the opportunity to donate. We didn't want to price the donation opportunities out of everybody's price range and keep them into what we would consider a bit more of a corporate range, and that was their goal. So personally, I'm satisfied, with the uptake that we've gotten, and there are other opportunities for us to fundraise. Um, we have one of the walls that's available. We've had donations coming in the $1,000 to $3,000 range. I've had a number of expressions of interest from other people on that. And candidly, where we got to on major fundraising, we're looking at a delta in the neighborhood of maybe $40,000 on the bricks, and I don't really see that as being anything insurmountable or immaterial to our budget. So that's where I'm coming from. I do want to, uh, you know, uh, table that for discussion, and we're always open to any suggestions. But the reality is, we've had the ability to sell bricks for over a year now, probably closer to a year and a half, and we've talked about it at length on at these meetings. And as I said, we're not going to move away from that, but I think we need to pivot the strategy and away from relying on the sale of the bricks to complete the fundraising. We'll complete the fundraising using other sources, and if the bricks sell, then that's great. We'll have some ancillary funds. So, having said that, I'll pause there for a minute if anybody wants to ask any questions or make any comments with respect to that.
Good afternoon, Barry and group. Just I wanted to bring up that we have reinforced the bricks piece with the association again, and they have indicated that they had lost sight of it and they would bring it back up with a membership, and also refresh on the payroll purchasing plan with everybody at their next association meeting. There was a definite feeling that if we were able to get the actual structure under construction, there was a feeling that the bricks would sell in a considerably faster fashion once they saw movement. I think that's pretty much straight off the board with everybody.
Thanks, Andrea. I appreciate that, and I agree with you. I think when people see the actual location and the scope of it, that will get some uptick. And I think that our hope was that those that are engaged in the firefighter community, whether they're existing firefighters, former firefighters, friends, neighbors, family, relatives of firefighters, maybe a little bit more inclined. So I think any effort that comes to the association will have a meaningful impact. And I certainly pledge personally, and I've said this to Ryan and others, if you need any ancillary materials, we have some foam boards and literature. I'm certainly happy to speak at any of at a meeting or a group gathering, anything like that, to help reinforce those efforts. That's great and appreciate it. And as I said, it doesn't mean we're cutting off. I just felt we had to face the reality of, call it, 100 brick shortfall in our budgeting. Anybody else? Mayor?
No, Barry, I was just going to say, I think it's the right call at this time. And it's good to hear that the service is putting the call out and is going to keep reiterating that fact. I actually think it is the case, as it starts to get built, people are going to take maybe a different view of the whole thing, but I think it's the right decision right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've said it consistently, and it's certainly been the case in other projects that I've been involved in. When shovels go in the ground and people start seeing things, it's so much easier of a, I want to say a sale, but like, so people can envision it. And so I'm comfortable with this. I mean, we had to get to a certain point in our fundraising before I could make this, but I think that candidly, I just look at the time, effort, and energy spent on it, and this seems like the right decision. So I'm going to leave it as a standing agenda item, and I don't think we need to vote on this. I'll defer to those that are more attuned with the rules here, and it's more of an informational piece, I think. And then we'll minute it, but if Andrea or anyone from the association can keep us abreast of this, at least with respect to efforts through that group, that would be great. And we'll keep moving forward. Anybody else want to comment on that point? Question?
Is it possible at one of the events at the park that we could have a booth?
Like, you mean like a Grape and Wine or something like that?
Yeah, something like that, or any of the things that go on through the summer.
That would likely be up to the organizer of those events. And
Okay.
so the question, I'm not even sure what's programmed there. I will say, like, there's some logistics involved in that. There'd obviously have to be staff, people to do it, or volunteers. And there need to be a mechanism to collect funds. A lot of, as you know, nowadays, no one's really carrying checkbooks or cash around anymore. So,
Tap machines, right?
yeah, I don't know that. Well, we don't have them. The city has them, and they're more designed to be the small little donation, the $10 here and there.
Okay.
But listen, I can certainly double back with Lori and see what is programmed for Montebello for the summer, and we can have a takeaway from this meeting, a list of events, and if somebody here has a link to one of those events or knows one of the organizers or wants to approach them to either to have a sign up or something like that. I'm happy to bring that forward for the next meeting and see if there's and we'll have some of those logistic items too to think about. But that's my initial reaction to it.
Okay.
I don't want to ever say no to anything that's gonna. It's not me either. Like it's a committee decision. Because we've tried the tip tap machines at Ice Dog games, we've done it at the. So example would be we had a booth at the firefighter Olympics or whatever the competition is where so you have a massive captive group of firefighter and firefighter related people. We set up a tent, a booth. The firefighters themselves staffed it, and it was in a vending area. There was where other things were, and then we had limited uptake from that. So it's sort of an effort and reward thing that I think we all need to factor into these kinds of decisions. So I don't want to say no to anything. So I think let's have a look at the list and we'll all decide. But I just say it in the with the caveat that they're we have to get approvals, we'd have to get volunteers and things like that organized. So let's look into it, but let's be cautious as we do.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to move on then to construction, and I'm going to go from what I think is excellent news. So the contractor and I have met twice on this in the last couple of weeks, And I've explained exactly where we're at with our funding, where the city's at, et cetera, et cetera. And they've given me full assurance that they've received enough funds. And you have to understand that as I think we've mentioned in the past, um, the they are firefighters. The husband and wife owner team of the contractor. The husband's a platoon chief in I think Windsor, and and they have done a number of these, and it's very near and dear to their heart. There's other firefighters in their family, so they look at this as very much a passion project, as much as anything else. To that end, they've never veered once on their original budget, in spite of the fact that costs of just about everything in life have gone up, and they are fully prepared to carry this project through to full completion, regardless of sort of what money's in our bank account, what money's in their bank account. They've received enough through the initial phase of this thing to proceed, and they're anxious to get rolling on the construction. So the first item that they were going to install was the flagpoles. As I put in our email update, they ran into uh, a hurdle with the city on getting a permit to put a crane on a street, which I get, so I'm just going to table as a potential takeaway from this. And listen, Lori's our city liaison. She has a really good reason for not being here, but I will take advantage of the fact that I have a counselor and the mayor on the call, as I want to do every now and again, and just say if we should continue to liaise this through Lori as the city representative, I'm happy to do that. But I'm just wondering if there might be somebody in that would be appropriate on the sort of building and construction end, for either the committee or the contractor to liaise through. So they're doing everything that the city needs to be compliant, but it is sort of a joint venture slash public-private partnership. So I'm just going to ask perhaps Mayor or Jackie if what your thoughts are on maybe just helping, because at the end of the day, I'm giving you lots of time to get your answer prepared here, by the way. But by the end of the day, the contractor kind of works for the project owner, and I guess theoretically that's us, but that's really not us. We're the stewards of it, and so ultimately, kind of the city is the owner, certainly the owner of the land. So they don't really have an individual they can go to and get answers. And God bless Lori, she tries her best, but she runs an entire different division of the city. So with that ample introduction, Mayor, I'm just wondering if you have some ideas around that.
So I actually had a conversation with Dave Oakes today about this very topic, and I basically said to him, like, we need to figure out a way to expedite this project and make sure that when there's a decision point or there is some issue that needs to be dealt with, it needs to go quickly. And that's not to take away from Lori, but you're 100% right, Barry. Like, this is not her department. Like, she is liaison to this committee, but she's not involved directly with the people that have the day-to-day dealings. So Dave I left it with him this afternoon. I said that we need to figure out a solution to this. Dave's going to figure out how to make that work. I should have an answer on that within the next 36 hours.
Fantastic. On behalf of our group and really everybody involved in the project, can't thank you enough for that support. I think honestly that's the last domino to fall. And I have a lot of faith in this contractor. I've worked with a lot of different ones over the years. They've worked on municipal projects and they really get this kind of thing. So we'll minute that, Mayor, as a takeaway, and we'll follow up. I'll brief Lori myself, and the chief should be aware as well, and we'll follow up with you guys on who and the person is. And I'm happy to undertake that. Putting those parties together and ensuring that the contractor has the right information, et cetera, to deal with. Great. Thank you. Okay. I'm moving on to general items of business here that a couple are follow-ups and a couple require some input. So first was I don't know where this one landed. This is kind of a Lori question, but there was an action point coming out of the meeting last fall to ensure that the people that answer the phones and respond to the emails that citizens versed had a some sort of briefing document or some bullet points that they could speak to with respect to the firefighters memorial status and potential to get involved. So I think that was done. I don't know if anybody knows anything to the difference there, but I just didn't have full confirmation. Again, I can double back with Lori on it. Okay. Flags I addressed. There also was one, and maybe I could ask Andrea or Trevor to follow up with the chief on the temporary signage. I think that may still be at the fire hall. I'm not sure if it's been erected on site yet or not. Anybody know the answer to that from the fire services?
We did have a spare one here at headquarters, we did have one here at headquarters. As I don't think it's been taken away to be erected. We can have a look into that for sure, though.
Yeah, thank you, Trevor. If you guys don't mind, I mean, as I said, as the construction goes up and that, people will want to know what's actually happening there. So I don't think it hurts. It has the website, et cetera, on it. So if I can leave that with you to ensure A, we have the sign, and B, potentially get it erected, I certainly can help with that and utilize the people that helped put it up last time. We offered it as an in-service with the company. We gave them donation opportunity for putting the sign up. So I don't know if you think you guys can handle that yourself or if you need an outside party to do it. But if you guys don't mind checking and letting me know, we can take it from there. Does that work?
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. So now, Angela, I will ask you, if possible, please, to screen share that last schematic from the contractor.
Sure.
It's if you can, I don't know how many they sent you, but there's an overhead kind of one. Oh, there you go. Yep, keep going. Keep going, please. Yep. And pause right there. Thank you. Okay, so I wasn't aware of this. This is this scheme. I hope everyone can see this, by the way, in their screens. This we had, if everybody recalls, we'd gone back and forth a couple of times with some input from Parks and Rec at the city in particular, or whoever handles landscape items, and the designer. And so this is kind of where we've landed. So at the bottom of the screen is the large donor wall. And then directly across, you'll see 3 trees and 3 walls below it. And they were, the walls were to house the actual, one was going to have the firefighter's prayer and a bell opportunity. One was going to have the actual names of the fallen firefighters themselves. And then one was kind of saved for, in the original drawing, it had background information on the fire services and the potential for some donation opportunity. We never really settled on that one. So she did point out to me today that the budget only has 2 of those 3 accounted for. And she said that she felt that it might look, unbalanced if we only had 2 instead of 3. And she did give me a price, which was $9,800, which is inexpensive, but for 3. So I'm not the design person on this. And my feeling, is not I mean, I think 3 would be a luxury, but not a necessity. Because I think, two spaced correctly might look okay, but I'm the farthest person from, making that kind of decision. So I wanted to table that with the group and sort of get any feedback on if we share Melanie, who's the contractor's concern that two might be a problem. Everybody has the same design acumen as I do, I guess.
Yes.
So let me table an idea then. Right now, I say that we proceed with two. And if our fundraising efforts get us to a point where we could potentially put in a third, then we would make that decision at that point in time. And we simply leave it so that could be, installed without looking imbalanced. So I guess we leave the optionality for it, and it's budget driven.
That makes sense.
Just want to make sure she when I looked at it, she was far more concerned than me about it. And I actually think that when you get that giant, I don't know, it's giant, when you get that life size, it's actually slightly larger than life, right? The statue, it's like 12-foot people, not normal sized people. You get two of those in there, plus the flags and the large donor sponsors and the two walls. I think there's a lot in a it's a lot of things that you wouldn't find in typical parks. So I'm certainly comfortable with it, but I wasn't comfortable making the decision on my own. That's why I brought it here.
I think it would be better to wait, like you suggested,
Okay.
so that you do have a better visual of it, because you don't want it to look like you just dumped a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You want it to be aesthetically correct and not just like, oh, well, they stuck this here and they stuck that there.
Right.
To me, less is better than too much.
Yeah, I'll agree with that wholeheartedly, and just say that I'm really thankful that everybody else has the same issues I have when it comes to trying to decide what's aesthetically pleasing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't go near it. So I'm going to table a motion then that our committee is prepared to proceed with the current design plan with two walls across from the large donor wall versus what the schematic currently shows, but hold out the option that a third can be added at a later date, dependent on budget.
That makes sense.
So I'll table that as a motion then, and I'll look for a seconder on it. And thank you, Nancy. And we'll call a question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Okay, so that's passed, and I will keep you apprised of development against that budget target.
Okay.
That concludes everything that I had on the agenda. I'll now open it up for any items of new business or any comments, questions, or concerns about anything else.
I don't have any.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so I think we got our things set. All right, seeing none, I will then ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by the mayor. Jackie, I'm going to give you this one because I saw your hand up last time as a seconder. Want to make sure you're in the minutes so people knew you were on the call here. Thank you, Jackie. And thanks, everybody, for staying with this. I know that these meetings, we don't have a lot to report on, but believe me when I tell you, getting some assistance from the city will really get things rolling on the construction side. And I can't wait till we have an actual, I think we're going to maybe have an in-person meeting at the cafe or something once we get construction rolling on this thing so we can actually see the progress ourselves. So thank you all very much for attending. Greatly appreciated. And anything in between, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.